Okay, so we watched Poor Things this week. Do you want to give a one-sentence summary to the audience?
Emma Stone kills herself, and then she comes back alive by Willem Dafoe, and then she goes on a journey of self-exploration and exploration of women and of men and of sex and of life and big themes.
Yeah, that'll do.
Thank you very much. What did you think to Poor Things?
I liked it. I
feel like we're going to be at heads today.
Because you thought it was perfect.
Yeah.
I gave it 4 stars. I did like it, but I will say, I think because I went in with such expectations, everyone gave it 5 stars. I was expecting like every second of this I'm going to love, and I think maybe it was more noticeable that because I had those expectations, I was sort of spotting flaws and like, I'm not too much of a fan of certain parts, but mostly really good. I can pinpoint exactly what I don't like. I don't know if we'll do it now or later. But do you want to say what you
Yes, we'll get into that in spoilers. I thought this was a perfect film. For me, this is the film of 2023. I think we briefly mentioned that coming out of 2023, we were like, there hasn't been any big hitters.
Yeah.
But that was before all of the releases from America are now starting to come out over here.
Well, yeah, when we did that tier list video, we... which still isn't out yet, but I'm sure it will be at some point.
It will be. It'll be out.
We were saying how there weren't very many like A and S tier films, and then shortly after watching that, I watched like 4 4-star films. So I think there are some like decent ones, but yeah, you're right. There have been like basically no really heavy hitters, and I'm very happy this was.
Barbie was great, Oppenheimer was great, but they weren't perfect films for me. No. But Poor Things was, I think, it is elevated by its premise. It is able to explore themes in an abstract way that you couldn't if it wasn't this kind of story.
Yeah.
And I think it takes it to every angle that you'd want to go.
I think
like
that's
the
fair.
themes of womanhood and how that kind of evolves from being a child to being a woman, and the people around you, how they then have to deal with those changes.
Yeah.
I just thought it was great. Story-wise, like spot on.
Well, I saw on your letterbox list of 2023 ranked, you put it in the first spot. It was your favourite film. It's my 19th of 59, so that is quite. That's still good. It's between Past Lives and Transformers: Rise of the Beasts. I think
is a travesty.
I think maybe Transformers: Rise of the Beasts was a little bit high, to be completely honest. I think maybe that should go down a little bit.
Oh my god!
But yeah, I don't know. I'll tell you that what didn't work for me. If they made that one change, I would like a hell of a lot more. I hated Mark Ruffalo in this film. I thought he was terrible. I loathed his performance, and so he really took me out of it, and that's what it was.
I watched this film, and I turned to Caitlin, who I saw it with, and I said, is Mark Ruffalo a good actor or not? Because I can't tell.
No,
is this
not.
A Keanu Reeves scenario? Or like is he just being like the next step up? Because he's done good acting before. He's done actual roles that aren't just like Marvel.
I mean, like, he was in Spotlight, wasn't he? I've seen him in other stuff, but like, he's never been the best
Zodiac,
actor.
I think he was in as well, wasn't he?
Maybe it was Zodiac. I'm just thinking of him in like a sort of detective's like bullpen, so it might have been Zodiac I'm thinking of. He's fine, but he's never been the best actor in the movies. No. When you look at the Avengers, I think they're pretty perfectly cast, but he does the job as Bruce Banner, but I think they could have got a better one. And I tell you what it is for me. Like, take Emma Stone. Like, obviously Bella Baxter is such a wacky character. She's not in any way realistic, but I completely buy like why she does everything. Like, I think she feels justified in all of her actions, and in that way she feels like a real person. And I think it's so masterful how Emma Stone can take a character who is so unlike a real person and still make me completely believe her. I just don't. When I watch Mark Ruffalo's performance, I think it's Mark Ruffalo putting on a silly voice. His character is obviously silly, but he's not even as silly as some of the others. And yeah, I just really, really didn't buy him. I just thought it was him putting on the worst English accent I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, it was very much Keanu Reeves in Bram Stoker's Dracula, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was very similar to that.
But I think his place in the film fit exactly what was needed. that he is like the manifestation of insecurity in men.
Yeah. But that's the thing. I get that from like the subtext and that. I never got it from him.
I think he's great. I think he starts off as like a very like suave character, but only if you're a child and you see him like, wow, look at this guy.
Yeah.
He's off gallivanting and sleeping with women. But then as soon as there's any sort of pushback against his very like regimented beliefs, he like falls apart.
Yeah.
And I think him at the end as just like a really bitter, sad man who presents himself as being free-loving and supportive of women and adventure, but actually doesn't want any of that at all. Yeah. I think, I can't tell if it was meant to be like that, if his performance was purposeful or whether he was just not good.
I think he's just not good.
I think it struck gold that it worked either way.
I don't know. I think it's also the character I don't... basically, when he came in, so I was really enjoying Rami Youssef's character, who kind of seems like he's like pegged to be the lead, and then we follow. He just suddenly Mark Ruffalo's introduced, and then we go off with him instead. And I was like, but I was much more into the original character, and I think it's more interesting the other character. And so the fact that we're experiencing this with a guy who just comes into the story for no reason, and then I didn't believe like when like Bella says, I just want to go on holiday with this random fella, like. She's always been, Willem Dafoe forced her to stay in this place. I just didn't buy any justification for why he suddenly changed his mind. It was very, very strange for me how he just suddenly came into the story and suddenly just overtook it, and I just didn't care.
What about him or about that part of the story onwards?
Well, the middle of the movie that's got him in is like my least favourite part. Like the stuff on the boat, I didn't particularly care for. Him like when he's like being all pathetic around her in Paris, I didn't really care for. When they're in, I can't remember where it's meant to be, like Athens or whatever. And then as soon as he left the movie, I was in again. I thought it was great when she's like working in the brothel. I don't know. I was like so turned off by that character.
How interesting.
But I loved the rest of the movie.
It was just, I really liked it. Have you seen an animated show from maybe like 5 years ago called Midnight Gospel on Netflix? No. It is gorgeous. It's got like 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And it starts with, it's like bookended by a very loose narrative, and you follow this wizard-looking fella who buys like a VR machine, and then he goes into this VR machine, experiences a story, and then comes back out into his world with like an artifact from it, or like learning something from it. And it's not, when you're in this world that he's entered, it's not like a conventional narrative. It's more like a podcast.
Yeah.
It's like he's gone in and is interviewing someone in this world, and they're like about big philosophical ideas, and they're all being represented by these visuals and this visual story going on. And then he leaves and takes it on board, and then goes into the next one, and it's completely different. It's then about life and death. It's then about prison. It's then about sex. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. I've never seen anything like it before, and I'd recommend it. And Poor Things reminded me of that so much, that she almost like injects herself into these stories, and then explores very philosophical ideas, and then takes them on board and grows and evolves, and it moves on. And then she's somewhere completely different and does it again with a different story and different ideas. Yeah. I thought it was just such a clever way of raising so many almost hard to talk about topics, but exploring them in almost like very podcasty ways like that. Like on the boat with the couple talking about like very cynicism and optimism, or when they're in the brothel, when they're talking about sex and love and bodies, and it's just great. I just loved it so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of good themes. I think when she's in the brothel to the end, I think is very strong. I probably my favourite part of the movie. Well, I really like the opening when we're first introduced to her, but I like the black and white stuff. I don't know why that was in black and white, but it just was. But I think it's just pretentious, to be honest. I don't think that had any need to be. But
Matt, your uni film was in black and white. Can you not say that,
but
please?
Maybe the light. Maybe he wasn't happy with the lighting. Probably. I think I loved the ending. Like when her well, I guess her mum's like husband comes back and she's like in his life. I think that's fantastic. Really love that bit. I love just. Do you want to talk about what I think is the strongest part of the movie? Basically the visuals, the production design,
yes,
like cinematography. I think it's wonderful. I love the skies in this. Like, it reminded me of Flash Gordon when they have like the colourful ink in water. I don't know if that's how they did it in this, but it looked like that. And it's sort of, I always thought from the trailer it would be in sort of a made up place, because it obviously says like Paris and London, all this, but it bears no resemblance to the cities it says it's set in.
Yeah.
It's just completely
very
whatever
fantastical.
Yorgos Lanthimos wants to. I mean, in Paris, I remember you see like there's like one shot where you see like the Eiffel Tower half constructed, and that's like, the only sort of Paris part of the whole thing.
I read into that because I wanted to talk about at the start. It's presented in a very unique way, and I think the visuals and the way it is shot develop along with her.
Yeah.
So like as you said at the start, it's black and white and is a lot of very long takes with very wide lenses.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it is.
Did you see it, like really big fisheye lenses?
They didn't shoot the rest of the movie like that particularly. Yeah, there's some very strange shots in the opening, but I really liked them. But they were very bizarre.
And then I think that's just because she's like a child at that point and is like learning and growing. And I think because it's point of view from her,
filmmaking is growing with it. Like,
I think so, or like her perception of the world.
Yeah,
and we're growing with that. So even I was like, well, maybe the world is normal. It looks like London and Paris and whatever, but the way she is perceiving it as this almost childlike view that then evolves throughout. She develops color and it becomes more stringent with cinematic rules and that kind of thing. Yeah, it does evolve as it goes on.
You're right. I think maybe the final act looks kind of the most normal. They're in like a pretty normal church, and then his house, her like husband lives in, is pretty normal. Yeah, I think that's a good take. I never really thought about that. It's very clever. I mean, like all of the direction is incredibly clever.
Gorgeous. Yeah. So talk about Yorgos.
He's a great guy. Have you seen?
No, personally.
Well, I've never seen his Greek films. I love The Lobster. I didn't care for Killing of the Sacred Deer, and I love The Favourite. He does this like weird thing with the director and the actors, where they have, I guess in The Lobster and Killing of the Sacred Deer, they have this sort of like autistic deadpan. Like they I don't know how to describe it. Like everyone talks they say really weird things in a very monotone way. Which I thought works perfectly with The Lobster, because the whole thing is about relationships and forced romance, and so the fact they talk like really stilted and like unemotional, I think worked perfectly. I think
very Wes Anderson-y, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And I think Killing of the Sacred Deer, I don't think it did work. I think it just, when it's about like a family like whose like kids dead, I think they lost the opportunity for a lot of emotion by doing that. But in this, they do. It's not quite the same, but it's quite similar, where they have some of the funniest, weirdest lines. I think the dialogue is like, no one would ever word any of the sentences the way that they're worded. But then they act as if it's like normal. It's almost like when people act Shakespeare, like they're just chatting gibberish, like no one talks like that these days, but they act as if it's normal. Like, she tried to grab my furry business, or my hairy business. What a strange thing to say.
You say that all the time. Come on. Yeah, Yorgos Lanthimos is great. I think he's just been like hit. He's like a real Jordan Peele, you could say.
Well, but I would say Us.
Yeah, he's like a Matt and Joshua. Yeah. Really, I would say. The Lobster's great. Killing of a Sacred Deer, The Favourite, and this. Yeah. I think this is his most ambitious and pays off completely. I think it works so well. The performances, although you didn't like Mark Ruffalo's one, Emma Stone is standout. Willem Dafoe is always great, and you can only get that from a director like him. Before we get into spoilers, it's also bizarre that this is shot in 1.66.
It was
very weird.
I like that aspect ratio, to be honest. Like, it's normally just done to be sort of arty and pretentious, but I like it a lot. European widescreen.
That's what I say. On to spoilers. I know we've spoken about a lot of it. I don't want to get into too much of the story beats.
Yeah.
But I would like to talk about, what do you think about the old twist with Bella. That she's... how she came to be.
I thought that was strange because that almost felt like, it's a twist. I thought it was weird how they revealed that so early. I was thinking when it sort of came back to this be relevant near the end, I thought maybe they could have, throughout the whole film, have like identity, like she's trying to wonder who she is, and we have a sort of mystery around that and a bit of hints, and then we actually revealed it at the end. But they didn't know. They told us pretty much right near the start that she was her mum, the mum's body and the unborn baby's brain. I guess that's kind of good to do at the start, though, because it means you have the setup for then the ending with the like husband character, how he has that same like lobotomy.
Yeah.
I thought with that, Willem Dafoe was dying. I thought they put Willem Dafoe's brain in.
That's exactly what I thought was going to happen as well.
Yeah, so he'd live on.
Yeah.
And I thought the goat was just a funny reaction shot. But I think it like half worked how it was the goat. Because it meant like it was like humiliating his body, and it meant that he died.
Yeah, it was great. It was almost like Barbie, really. The themes in this, that it was about a woman going out and learning about herself, learning about the world. Again, I'm going to speak for me here. I don't speak for you.
Yeah.
I personally am not attracted to women with very infantile natures. As I know. It's very promoted in this that everyone wants to have sex with her because she acts
really
like
creepy.
a child.
But I think it's meant to be really creepy. Like everyone she has sex with throughout the movie is like pretty gross, and that's kind of the point.
What about the crab man running around naked in Paris, filling her hair?
Yeah, that was disgusting. You have sort of similar themes with Under the Skin.
Yes,
but that is. Yeah. But I guess you're supposed to be attracted to that because it's meant to be that she's like alluring. Like the men she's alluring the audience to. The
last thing I'd like to talk about is one of my favourite artists, Jerskin Fendrix.
Don't know the fella.
He did the score for this.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like a painter. Oh, the score was very good.
Musician. Yes.
What else has he done? I've never heard of him.
He is from the Brixton scene over here. Okay. He released an album from a couple of years ago called Winter Reese. It is unbelievable. It is such an amazing album. If you haven't heard it, go and listen to it. You'll be blown away. It's one of those albums that you hear and it will like broaden horizons. It's great. It's so good. So it's lovely to see him do this.
Yeah, I looked him up and this is his first film by the looks of things.
Yeah.
Like he's not got a very extensive Wikipedia page, which is very impressive. I mean, it was fantastic.
And what a choice he was for this. I'm so glad that somehow Yorgos Lanthimos and Jerskin Fendrix met each other. Because it's such a unique score that fits such a unique character and a unique film.
Yeah, I think it will get
the perfect pairing.
I think it will get a Best Original Score nomination at the Oscars. It's shortlisted.
Yes,
I think it will get a nomination.
I think it could win.
I think it could win. Yeah,
I think it deserves to win.
Right. What more is there to talk about?
What did you rate? Yeah, what did you rate Poor Things?
I rated it 4 stars because I thought it was mostly very good. I just wish they got a different actor to play. I can't remember the name of the character, but Mark Ruffalo's character. I wish someone else played that part. Someone who is good. Mark Ruffalo is just such a oh god, what's his name? Jai Courtney. He's a Jai Courtney.
No, he's not. Don't even say that. Take that back.
He's not quite a.
He's
Jared
not
Leto,
a Jai Courtney.
Who's always the worst part of the film. He's just an actor who, like, he works, but no one. He's a Dakota Johnson. Like,
no, he's not.
Why is she the lead of Madam Web? Like, she's not attracting any audience members in.
Yeah, but Madam Web looks like a fake film. All of the posters and trailers look like a fake film. I swear
they're just tax write-offs. Those ones, they're appalling.
No, Mark Ruffalo, he's able to perform. Whether he's a good actor or not, I couldn't say. But he's like Nicolas Cage.
I wouldn't say
does
Nicolas
something
Cage is
good.
I love Nicolas Cage. Like, he has a hit once in a while. I thought he was really good in what was it called? Renfield.
Dream Scenario.
I haven't seen Dream Scenario, but I've heard he's good in that. I thought he was fantastic as Dracula, because he's right for that sort of role. But I can't think of a role that Mark Ruffalo's right for. I can't think of any role that someone else couldn't do a better job of.
I thought it was great in this. When he's like, Bella!
People always jump to that. That's one word. That's a one-word line. He did a good job of that. I like that bit. It was well done. It was one sentence.
When he just tells everyone to, fuck off. Things like that.
Yeah.
When he jumps on that guy at that sick dance scene, and starts having a punch up.
Yeah, that was okay. I preferred Rami Youssef, who was like the other guy. Is that his name?
I thought Rami Youssef was boring in comparison to everyone else.
But the character's meant to be straight. Like, he's meant to be more... And that's why I kind of feel like he'd be a better match with going through the movie with Bella, because he was, like, the most normal character and she's the most wacky.
But it shows her growth, that she's able to move past Mark Ruffalo, who is supposed to be the eccentric character of the Victorian era. That she moved past that. She's a modern lad. Not a modern lad, a modern lady.
She's independent, yeah.
She's independent. She's strong. And she has the brain of a child.
Yeah.
Good for her.
That was quite funny near the start, and she played it incredibly well. Like that, I thought it was very good. Like the slow progression of her, like almost in every scene, she gets like slightly more. Her vocabulary is like slightly wider, and she behaves slightly more mature. Very, very well done. I had one more thing to say.
It was 5 stars for me, big 5 stars, and I don't think there's been a better film this year that I've seen.
Do you think it could win Best Picture? I think it will get a nomination.
Yeah, I don't think it'll win because the Oscars are boring, and I think Oppenheimer's going to win.
I think Oppenheimer's probably going to win, yeah.
Because it's about America and America being good.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, they're not particularly accurate, the Oscars. It's like Maestro will probably get a nomination when it's not a good film.
Yeah. Whereas this and Barbie say the same thing, but Barbie, I think, is written not as strongly. Barbie has to have a monologue by a character explaining about how hard life is for women, but this says it organically and naturally and is
I agree.
perfect.
I mean, I did quite like the monologue in Barbie. I thought it was quite well written, even though it was like very...
Like 5 minutes long.
It was. But to be fair, when I watched... have you seen The Great Dictator? Fantastic Charlie Chaplin film. It's great.
No, I haven't, actually.
It's really good. But that ends with like his... like version of Hitler delivering
the famous
big speech.
monologue.
Yeah, he gives a very famous monologue, which is about how everyone should just get along in the world, really. And that's the same as the Barbie monologue. Like, it's just so on the nose. There's no depth to it. He's just saying exactly what the point of the film is, and yet that's considered genius. I think just because it's old, to be honest. So I don't think there's anything wrong with Barbie monologue, but I prefer Barbie. I thought it was more fun. But I think this film handled the themes very, very well. Good film. Thumbs up from me.
Good film. 2 thumbs up from me. Thank you, Yorgos. I look forward to your next one, sir.
Well, I think it's out this year. It's out quite soon.
Is it?
I think they've really shot it.
Oh my God.
It's called...
What is it?
Kind of Kindness, it's called. It stars Emma Stone and Willem Dafoe again. And Margaret Qualley, who is also in this film. But I'm looking forward to that.
I'm excited to watch that. Yeah.
3 different stories.
Yorgos. I remember you coming out of Poor Things and just texting me Yorgos Lanthimos slays.
I think it's fetch.